I'll have to start all over again. All right, so YouTube is good as well. Okay, let me check my camera. I changed it again, so maybe it'll be good. Marginally better. All right. Okay. So if you're on my email list, I teased a little something. Just another little second since I was running late. But so Christmas is coming, and I don't know, I've got about 25 things in my head right now. Focus. Yeah, so Christmas is coming in 2 weeks, and I don't know if you have some feedback on that, if you would want to be live on Saturday morning or not. Because if not, I mean, if nobody's going to be playing with me, it's not as fun. So, we can do something else. Next week, because of that, will be like your Christmas present, right? And I had a little bit of a slower flow, I don't know, a few weeks back when I was just sort of kind of getting my groove in here. But next week will be a restorative class. So if you have blankets, pillows, you can use blocks and fancy bolsters and things like that if you have them. But otherwise, just grab what you got kind of thing, because we'll do some restorative poses. And it may not be a full hour because I don't want anybody falling asleep. And sometimes restorative can be like that. So that's my plan for next week. That's like your Christmas present. And I also wanted to offer, I haven't gone in there yet. I was thinking like the 12 days of Christmas, right? And we're not quite there. So on my website, there's a membership on there. If you're interested, do not feel any pressure. I give these classes away on Saturdays because I know people need yoga, and I will meet you wherever you are, right? So if you want to subscribe on my website, nannydayyoga.com, it's a $10 a month membership, or there's $100 a year, which is next to nothing. But if you subscribe with a membership, you get my 8 Limbs of Yoga workshop for free, right? So I'll do that through Christmas. That is like the extra Christmas present, right? If you're interested, of course, again, it's not, don't feel any pressure to do that. But it's a really great workshop. I was thinking about it the other day, and I really enjoyed doing it. And it's got some really good information in there about what we're doing here, why we're doing this. We're not doing it just to, I don't know, get your heart rate up or stretch your hamstrings, right? Hopefully that's not all you're getting out of it. But so that's my Christmas story. and then we'll see what happens in the new year. So today it's gray here a lot. I'm a little less than thrilled about that, but whatever. It's December, it's fine. But because of that, I want to really open up the front of the body, get some energy, get some warmth and heat coming in. So that's the theme for the practice today. Remember to listen to your body. If you want to modify things, if you want to add something in, if you want to hold something longer, of course, feel free to make this your class. No one's watching you. Sometimes in class you feel pressure, to move along with the class. And of course, you don't want to be doing something completely different than everyone else in a group setting. And that can be a little distracting, but you're alone, right? You can do what you want right now. So let's move over to the mat. We are going to start seated. So find a comfortable seat. Align your heels to the groin as much as you can, allowing the knees to fall. And if it feels better to sit up on a prop, feel free to do that. Make sure that you are upright on your pelvis, adjusting your seat. And then the pelvic floor lifts, the lower belly comes in and up. We're tall through our sides, but relax through the shoulders, even if you have to hang on. Try to release your shoulders toward the floor. Closing your eyes, bringing your ears over your shoulders. And just taking a moment to be here. observing your breath. Beginning to expand into that breath. Taking it deeper and slower. Maintaining that yoga breath as we flow through class. Remember, that is the thing. Everything else is extra. We'll extend the arms out to the sides, and with an inhale, stretch them up. And exhale, bring them back down. Doing that again. And one more time. We'll inhale back to the top. Exhale the right hand to the mat and give yourself a little tip to the right. Take a nice full breath here, keeping the left shoulder back. And then with the inhale, make your way back up to center. And we'll switch. Exhale the left hand. Coming back up to the top. Let's go like that once more on each side. Take it right. Maybe a little deeper into the stretch. And back to center. Over to the left. Inhaling up to the middle. And then releasing the arms. Let's come around onto hands and knees. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, the belly still engaged here. Find a neutral spine, including your shoulders here. They feel kind of wacky sometimes. And then moving in through some cat-cows on an inhale, drop the belly toward the floor. And with the exhale, rounding the spine toward the ceiling. Following your breath, float in and out of those two poses. Once more in each direction. And then we're going to find a center again. So from our all fours here, let's go ahead and move into down dog. So knees back, or hands forward, depending on where you are. Lifting the knees away from the floor, and then lifting the hips. And just allow yourself to wiggle and stretch. Keeping the four corners of the hands, go ahead and press yourself back into it. So we're pressing the chest toward the thighs, we're pressing the heels toward the floor. Don't worry if they don't touch. Just feel the nice stretch. You don't want to shorten up your down dog just to get your heels to the floor. That's no longer down dog, right? So don't worry about that piece so much. Trying to keep the spine as neutral as we can here. Instead of sinking the heels toward the floor, let's come up on the toes.
Keeping the hands as they are, drop your heels over to the left. The chest stays pressing back so your hips are nice and high. And then we're going to come back to the middle and switch over to the right. Coming back to center. And on an inhale, shift forward, come to plank. You can absolutely drop your knees if you need to here. Exhale, take yourself back to down dog. Inhale forward to plank. And then back again. Let's take a few more flows like that. Drop the knees if you need. One more time. Drop down to your knees and take a little rest in child's pose. Give your hands a little bit of a break. Remember, if you are feeling a lot of stress in your hands, you can always drop to your knees for sure. But also remember that the ridge top of the hands, right, the ball of the base of the index finger and the other fingers should have as much weight as your wrists, right? That can sometimes be the problem. Sometimes it's just that our hands aren't used to that, right? They're not ready. So go ahead and take another breath here. And then we're going to make our way back up into our down dog. So let's go ahead and lift the right leg. Take it straight back and really extend through your heels. Feel that nice stretch here. Opening the right hip without shifting the shoulders. So the toes are pointing kind of toward the ceiling maybe, bending at the knee. See if you can peek over and see your toes over there. Let's take that leg straight again, squaring the hips. We're going to step the right foot through to the hands and come to lunge. Let's drop down to the back knee. Adjust your toes if they didn't make it exactly where you want. And then just wiggle around into your hips a little bit here. We'll take the right leg straight. Getting a stretch in the hamstring. Remember that the shoulders should be back, right? If you have to round to touch the floor, maybe come up a little bit, right? Or prop up even on the thigh, grab a block. Let's come forward again, sink into the hips. Imagine drawing the legs toward each other. Keeping the chest open and lifted, let's bring the right hand to the hip and rotate around. Releasing the twist. Lifting the back knee, let's step back to our down dog. So we're going to do the same thing on the second side here. Lift the left leg. Give it a nice big stretch here. Open the hip. Bend at the knee. See if you can see your toes. And then taking the leg straight, squaring the hips again, step through for lunge. Dropping the back knee, adjusting the toes if and when you're ready. Kind of roll around if and when you need. Finding that center again, let's go ahead and take the left leg straight.
Bending back into the knee, keeping the hips square and lengthening the spine. Let's twist on this side. So left hand to the hip and rotate around. Releasing that twist, and then stepping back to our down dog. Let's come forward, shift into plank, and then drop on down to the knees and all the way to the belly. So we're going to warm into our shoulders a little bit here because we are going to be opening up a little bit deeper as we go. Hands next to the side ribs, we want to hug those elbows in and keep the tailbone pointing toward the floor. Nice long lower back. On the inhale, roll the shoulders up by your ears, together on your back and down toward your hip bones. Exhale and release them. So with the breath like that, rolling up and exhaling down. Take just a few flows. See if you can move a little deeper into the shoulders without using your arms necessarily. We will use them, just see what happens before that. One more time like that. And then just release and rest for a moment. We're going to do that same idea again here. This time hold. So roll up and hold. Squeeze your elbows to your waist, squeeze your shoulder blades together on your back. Imagine extending out the chest and down the tailbone. Pull like you're going to pull your belly button to the top of your mat. Feel your triceps. Keep that idea. And then maybe press. Coming up a little higher. So the elbows are still in toward the hips. Shoulders are together on the back. Releasing. Let's press up and back. Let's go to a child's pose. Making our way back to down dog. Let's walk the feet up to the hands, kind of standing fold. Toes pointing forward, feet roughly your handprints apart. More wardrobe malfunction. So then taking the hands maybe to the thighs if you need some support, up to the hips otherwise. Elbows bent, pointing up toward the ceiling. We're going to come halfway up, hold in the middle for a moment. Feel the hips over the ankles. Again, you can be supporting with the hands on the thighs if your back is not happy about this. And then hinge from the hip coming all the way up. All right. So with the feet in this place, a little tuck of the tailbone here. The hands may be either supporting the lower back or interlaced behind the back here if you don't feel like you need the support. So the elbows and shoulders pull toward each other, shoulder blades pull toward each other on the back. We're going to stretch the knuckles for the floor, lift the chest to the ceiling, and open up into this little back bend. You decide if you need the support, you take it. If you don't really need it, maybe the fingers can interlace then. I think there's nothing saying that you cannot change the position of your arms while you're holding. Keep the chin tucked toward the throat so the lower back, the back of the neck stays nice and long. Let's take another nice big breath. And on the inhale, we're going to come back up, find that neutral position, release your hands. And then go ahead and support, even if you hadn't before. Make sure your belly's still working. We're going to come forward into our half fold. Holding here for a moment. Keep that 90-degree bend in the waist, shoulders back, belly in. Bending into the knees this time, let's come and sit into chair. So even on the four corners of the feet, the tailbone tucks, the chest lifts. Hang on, come center, extend, whatever makes you happy with your arms. Big full breaths here. And then inhale, stretch to the ceiling. And exhale, release the arms. So we're going to work into those sun salutes. And last week we did 3 of the A variation and 2 of the B variation. We're going to do that again. So I've been doing 2 A's and 1 B for, 20 years now, as long as I've been teaching, I think, right? So maybe we can do a total of 5. So again, remember you can modify things, you can skip things, right? If it's too much. So we're going to inhale, lift to the ceiling. Exhale, take it over into fold. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, step yourself back to plank. Knees, if you want, down to the belly. And then again, here, that nice little roll of the shoulders. You can add the pull, you can add the press. Exhale, release that, take it back to down dog. And then inhale, step forward into fold. Halfway up on an inhale. And back over. Reaching all the way up. And then release it. Again, inhale up. Exhale, fold. Halfway up. Back to plank. All the way down on that same exhalation into cobra. And back. Down dog. Forward into fold. Inhale. Halfway up again. And over. Reaching for the ceiling. Exhale, release it. All right. So we're going to do one more like that. Only I'm not going to talk, and you're just going to do your thing and follow your breath, and you know where to go. Right? If you don't, take a peek. So this is all you're getting for right now. Inhale, reach up. And go. So maybe we flowed together and maybe we didn't exactly, and that's totally okay. That's how it's supposed to be, really. I mean, usually it looks similar, right? But not always exact. So make sure you're listening to your breath and doing what's right for you. So we're going to move on to those B's. And I've modified the first one a little bit, right? So with an inhale, let's sit into a chair. Exhale, take yourself over into a fold. Halfway up. And back to our plank. Down to that belly. Inhale for cobra. Exhale, release back to down dog. Inhaling the right foot forward for lunge. Work your toes up. You can knock your back knee like we did earlier. Take the right hand to the hip. Exhale, rotate around into a twist. Press through the heel, extend out the crown of the head. Take a nice big breath. And then exhale it, step back to down dog. Slide forward for plank. Take it down to the belly. Roll into cobra. And then back to down dog. Left foot forward in the lunge. Work your toes up there, drop the knee if you like. Rotating around on an exhalation into twist.
Take a full breath. And release, dropping back to down dog. Forward into plank, inhale. Take that whole exhalation to the belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, down dog. Drop into child's pose if you prefer. And take 5 nice slow breaths. Remember, you can rest more or less. One more breath. If you dropped into child's pose, lift back to down dog, and on an inhale, step forward into fold. Come halfway up. Inhale into a chair. And exhale to release. So I just threw that little twist in there. The next one, we're going to work on our up dog maybe, right? So remember, you can keep it low in cobra, or we can work a little deeper. So we'll have an extra breath or so in there just to kind of get ourselves there. And I love the idea of working with the breath, but sometimes people slam themselves in and out of stuff, right? So they punch into it and then they pull back right out. And we really want to open and express. So again, we'll hold it for just a little second. On an inhale, sit into chair. And with the exhale, take it over into fold. Halfway up again. Back into our plank. And down to the belly. So holding here for just a little second. Hands next to the side ribs, elbows rolling in. Roll into the shoulders like we did. Little pull, little press. Coming to those that the elbows are almost straight. Maybe lifting the feet up, or the thighs away from the floor. Take another big breath here. Tailbone down, chest open, and release. Up and back to down dog. We're going to step the right foot forward in for a lunge. Drop the back knee if you'd like. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, come all the way back down and step back to down dog. Forward on the inhale, the plank, and down to the belly. Hug the elbows, roll the shoulders, little pull, pressing as much as you'd like, only don't lock your elbows. Lifting the thighs away from the floor if that's you, and then release. Back to down dog. And the left foot forward. Take your time, drop the knee or heel, coming up, and then back down. Down to down, back to down dog. Forward into plank. Down to the belly. You decide how far to go in your cobra here, or up dog. Releasing that up and back. Holding down dog or dropping into child's pose. Big full breaths. And if you drop down, lift back to down dog. Inhaling as we step forward. Coming halfway up. Back over. Inhaling into chair. And exhaling, release it. All right. So let's go ahead and take a nice big step back with the left foot. We're going to work into warrior two here. So right toes forward, left toes cut in a little, bending into the knee, Making sure you can see your big toe to make sure the knee and ankle are stacked. Hips are level. Press down into the legs and imagine pulling them together underneath, opening the arms level to the floor. See about turning your palms up. And feel how that kind of sets your shoulders back. Keep them back and turn them over again. Let's bring the left hand to the back of the left thigh. We're going to reach the right palm up. Draw the shoulder blades together on the back, opening and lifting the chest. Keeping the legs steady and strong. Let's make our way back to Warrior Two. Bringing the right forearm to the thigh and the left arm up and over the ear. Sink into the hips if you can. Remember, we're looking for this nice long line between the left fingertips and the left heel. Let's release it over into a lunge. Taking the knee to the floor, dropping or hopping the left foot in a little bit if that's for you. We're going to take the right leg straighter. Keep the shoulders together on the back. Lead toward your toes with your chest. Hips are nice and square. Let's bend into the knee. We're going to roll forward over the left toes and then take that knee to the floor. So you may find that this knee is in front of the toes a little bit. If that is too uncomfortable, walk it back a bit, right? Or walk your toes forward, however makes more sense. We're going to keep sinking into the hips here. Try to keep the right heel on the floor. You can stay with the fingertips on the floor if that's where you need to be. Maybe climb up on the thigh here. Keep the hips nice and low. Sometimes the hips will back out when you come up. Try and keep them low. Keeping the legs or the hips square. Press against the thigh and lift your chest, coming as vertical as you can with your upper body. Shoulders down and back. Hang on if you feel like you need to hang on. You can interlace your fingers behind your back, pulling your shoulder blades together and stretching back towards your left heel, or take those arms and reach them up. Relaxing the shoulders down. Open and lift the chest. Let's release it. Roll back over your toes. And walk the hands around into a straddle. Not lunge, straddle. So take your feet as wide as they need to be. Okay, maybe wider, maybe less. Toes point forward. We want to feel nice and even in the four corners of the feet. And then let yourself just hang for a second. Taking the fingertips to the floor, if they're not there already, go ahead and turn your toes out to the corners a little bit. And then with the breath here, on an exhale, bend into the right knee, watching that the knee is tracking with the toes and not over the toes. Inhale, come back to center, and then exhale over to the left. So you're gonna go side to side like that with your breath. And if you need to adjust where your feet are, adjust where your feet are. Let's go once more on each side. So get in there as deep as it's gonna get for now. And then bring yourself back to the middle, turn the toes in, walking the hands around toward this right foot, lunging back to the top of the mat. Step back to down dog. Might have seen this before. On an inhale, slide forward into plank. Take it to the belly. Roll into cobra or up dog. And then release it, come back to down dog. And from there, we're gonna switch sides. So step the left foot forward. Work your toes to where they need to be. Drop the back heel. And then when you lift the upper body, the legs should be something like warrior two, right? So check them out. Adjust if you need to adjust, of course. Opening the arms when you're ready. Roll those shoulders back, palms up. And then keep them back, palms back down. Bringing the right hand to the back of the thigh, left palm turns toward the ceiling, reach up. Dropping the shoulder back down. Open and lift. Let's come back to our warrior two. Bending that left arm, rested on the thigh, right arm up and over the ear. Sinking into the hips, keeping the right shoulder back. Release it over, let's come to our lunge. And again, make this as wide, as narrow, knee down if you need. Take the left leg straight when you are ready. Keeping the chest open. Prop if you have to prop. We'll bend back into the knee. Roll forward over the right toes and sink into the hips. So again, if this is too much, take it back a notch, right? Keeping the hips nice and square and low, climb up. Pressing away from the thigh, come as vertical as you can. And if you can go a little bit beyond vertical, go ahead. So whether you're using your arms to push, whether you're interlaced behind your back, whether you want to extend your arms over in line with the ears. Let's gently release that. Roll back over the toes. And then walk the hands back around into that straddle again here. Taking your feet wider or more narrow as you need. Index and middle fingers are going to wrap around the big toes. Elbows out, pulling against those toes. Drawing yourself a little deeper into the fold. And then releasing the toes. Take the fingers to interlace behind the back. One more time here. Shoulder blades pull toward each other, knuckles stretch away. Let's release it. Walk the hands back around to the left foot. One last time, I promise. Back to down dog. Slide forward into plank. Take it down. Cobra or up dog. And then release it, down dog. And into child's pose. Big, full, smooth, easy breaths. Easy to say. You got one more breath. And then lift it back up, down dog. Walking your feet forward into a fold. Let's take a bend in the knees here. With an inhale, roll all the way up. All right. So we're going to take it into a balance pose here. We're going to add in those elements of opening the front of the body, getting into those quads a little bit here. So remember, as long as you're standing on one foot and you keep the chest open and lifted, it's a win. Right? All the other bells and whistles and things to add or not, right, are entirely up to you. All the way over into this right foot. Let's bend the left knee, taking the foot back. We're going to take the left hand and find the foot. So keeping that knee pointing at the floor, the hips and shoulders are square to the top. You can hold here. You could take that right hand and ground the foot as well and stay upright. You can reach up with the right hand, kick the foot into the hand so you really open up your chest here, coming forward a little bit. Or maybe all the way, bringing your right hand to the floor. So if the knee needs to be bent, it can be bent here, maybe straight. So right now the knee is pointing at the floor. This is a lovely stretch. See about pointing it out to the left. Maybe even in your head, point it toward the ceiling. Keep the foot kicking into the hand. And then gently square back up. Remember, take your time. Lifting all the way back up. And then releasing it. So especially if you're wobbly already, move really slow. Because wobbly already and then momentum will make you fall over, right? Every time. You might still fall over if you're moving slow, but at least you're giving your brain and your muscles a chance to figure it out. So let's see where we go over here. Remember, add what is right for you. All the way over to the left. Taking the right foot up off the floor. Right hand maybe finds the foot or the ankle-ish, right? Knee pointing down so the hips and shoulders are square. Grabbing on with that left hand, reaching up if you'd like. Staying upright or hinging over. And again, here you can hinge over a little or all the way to the floor. Knee pointing out and up-ish. Gently releasing everything. Coming upright. And releasing back to the top. So maybe that was perfect and graceful, and maybe it was like all over the place. So what? Let's inhale, reach the arms. Over and exhale it over into a fold. Stepping back to down dog. Let's go ahead and drop down. Take a little child's pose here. From child's pose, let's go ahead and slide forward out onto the mat. All the way to the belly. One more back bend, and then we'll be done with that. All right, so tailbone pointing toward the floor here. And essentially, you can't do it when you're standing up, of course, but we're grabbing both feet at the same time. So just like we did before, only at the same time. Bend the right knee, grab your foot. Bend the left knee, grab your foot. And if you can't do them both at the same time, don't panic about it. Okay? You may be able to grab onto your ankles and flex your feet. It kind of gives you a little more to hang on to. Keeping the legs toward each other rather than out to the sides. Right? If you have to grab them out on the sides, that's fine, but then pull them back. Kick the foot into the hand, feet into the hands. Shoulders down and back, maybe thighs up off the floor. You decide on that fancy stuff. Keeping the knees in, roll over to your left. Roll back to the middle and then over to your right. Back over to the left again. One more time back to the right. This time release your feet and roll over onto your back. Go the other way. Too much junk in my way. So yes, of course, you will have to roll back to the middle or scoot back to the middle of your mat. And then just take a moment. Release your spine into the floor. Relax your shoulders. And the legs can be straight or bent. Let's pull the knees into the chest. And just gently rock. Keeping the knees in, take the shins vertical, hang on to the backs of your thighs, or maybe reach up and grab for the soles of your feet. We're going to pull down, knees in toward the armpits. Work to keep the spine as neutral on the floor as you can. So a lot of times here, the shoulders will lift up and the bum lifts up off the floor, right? Try and stay neutral as much as you can. And then keep pulling down with the arms, push back up with your feet. Push and pull. Let's release the feet to the floor. And then bring the soles of the feet together and let your knees fall open to the sides and just rest the legs. Bringing the knees back together again. We're going to move into this final twist. So remember, you decide what variations you like, any extras you want to add on. All right, we're going to open the arms out into a T position. If you want to shift the hips, shift the hips. If you don't want to, fine. If you want to have the legs bent or straight, wherever you want to go, take the legs over to the right and add the little pieces that feel right for you. Remember, you can work harder or not as hard and still enjoy the benefits of this last twist. Let's take 5 more breaths here. Again, just so you can add any little variations you want. Because sometimes a little of this feels good and then you want to add a little of that too. One more breath. And then we'll bring it back to center. And then the same idea to the second side. So ideally you work symmetrically, right? Sometimes they don't always look right. Sometimes one side needs something a little bit different. So make it right over here. And again, we'll take 5 more breaths. So adding on what you want to add on or not. One more nice big breath. And we'll bring it back to the middle again. Bringing the knees back to the chest. Let's get at that nice rock. And then squeeze them in. Pull in as tight to the chest as you can. Draw your forehead to your knees. And then releasing that into a full body stretch. Releasing that stretch. Bringing yourself to Shavasana, whatever that's going to look like. Remember, you're home if you want to legs up the wall. If you want to take a seated meditation. Find where your body wants to be right now. Not back in bed. Making this as comfortable as you possibly can. And then allowing yourself to settle into this space. Keeping the mind quiet, present. Allow yourself to simply rest.
Begin to draw the breath a little deeper. Begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes, circling at the wrists and the ankles. Moving and stretching through your arms and your legs. And gently taking a full body stretch if that sounds good. Bringing the feet flat to the floor. Slowly rolling yourself over to the side, just pausing there. Keeping the eyes closed and the mind quiet. Gently make your way back to seated. Sitting well, bringing the palms to touch. Bowing to the light within. Namaste. Yay, yoga. So hopefully that was good and you got what you needed. Remember to let me know your thoughts on the Saturday of Christmas Eve that morning, whether you want to be here or not be here. Remember next week to bring your props and your fun stuff for a little bit of a restorative class. And visit the website this next coming week and check out the goodies there. Right? AnitaYoga.com. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Yeah, or if not before. Well, not before. Not anymore. All right, see you guys.